So this was a tradition that I started last year. I saw it on a YouTube channel. So we had bow camp for 11 weeks. So we're going to take that down and introduce our deer camp sign with the little placard that has the 2024 on it. Had this on this little deer camp sign at a thrift store underneath, and we've got our name of our property, Peaceful Pines. So the 2024 Wisconsin Firearm Deer Camp has officially gone underway. A party of one, just me, but we're going to call that good. Last year was the first time I had hunted deer in 16 years. Previously I had hunted in southern Illinois where I grew up. So let's spin the what to do spinner. Go hunting. Let's confirm. Yeah, going hunting. One more time, three's a charm. Oh, we're going to go hunting. So that's what we need to do in the morning. Yes! You didn't see it, it was right in front of me. Oh, thank you, Lord. I don't have to go out in the morning. Here. It's right out there. I knew that others' blind was not going to be a good blind. Alright. That's good. What happened was there was two of them walking that way. And then this one just kept staring at me, When he went behind a tree, or it went behind a tree, I had my gun pointed this way because I thought they were going to cross. So as soon as it went, I put her down right there, and I got a shot through the neck. It's not the best. It went down, so it was an ethical kill. Let's go see what we got. So here's my stand, or my blind is right there, and it was standing right there. It's a doe, a medium-sized doe. Now whether this was the one I shot at yesterday or not, I don't know. I'm not going to show it to you, but I did shoot it in the head. It didn't do much damage up there, but it dropped it, and then I went ahead and make sure it was completely dispatched by shooting the with a 10 mail in the chest cavity. But yeah, that was a guided bullet from above. There was no way that I was aiming for the neck, and it dropped. There was another one with it. It's a yearling. I believe it's a yearling. And then there's a big giant doe that I've seen on camera with him as well. So let me get this butchered out, or gutted out, and then we'll hang it, see how much it weighs, and start butchering it. That reads 90 pounds. That's a good sized doe. I don't know how clear that is. I can't. Got it hung up here. I've got the power station, one of the floor lamps, out of the tent, because then I've got two tubs like that and a cooler, and I'm going to butcher it all out and get it down to the skeleton, and then take the meat home and finish prepping the meat for the freezer, because then I don't have to drag the carcass home and do it like I did last year, since we got the deer hanger. First deer on the deer hanger. So I got about an hour, maybe 2 hours worth of work here. I don't know how quickly I can break this down, but I got to get skinned, which would be a lot easier this way than laying horizontal. And boy, I thought 90 pounds. That's a good size doe. Very pleased with that. Now that's, and just like that, it is all butchered out. All in the tub here. Skin is there. I got the head behind me. I'll bury the head. I always like burying the head and then turn them into European mounts, even if they're not got antlers. Uh, so that will take hour and a half tomorrow night at home in the warm kitchen on a clean table. And then I took the carcass and the legs and the remaining stuff back over in the woods about 100 yards. There's still a lot of remnants here, but that's just the way it's going to be. So I'm going to get everything in. The tent. I scrubbed my hands off, had soap. Big benefit having wet wipes, just so you can keep grabbing them and wipe your knife off or wipe your hands off to grab something that you need. Put your, all kinds of stuff. See you in the tent. I got the deer all butchered up, and in the tub I'll take it home, and in about an hour and a half, 2 hours, that will be in the freezer. Now, if you watch last year's deer camp, which is linked below, we didn't have that deer hanger. Things were very new. We only had bought the property in July, and deer season was in November. So we were constantly evolving the property from just woods and building what we have now. So this one took 2 hours and 15 minutes from the time I got it to camp, hung up, butchered out in the tub. Carcass in the woods and away from the camp, even though there's still a lot of stuff there. It's just the way it's going to be. Last year, we didn't have that, so I harvested a 7-point on opening day and a fawn on the second day, put them in the vehicle, took them home, butchered them out at home on a table. If you've ever butchered a deer out, which is very easy to do, by the way, having it hung makes everything so much easier to work. You can spin it, you can pull it, and everything. And this was still warm deer. Last year, I didn't butcher them out until Monday. So that's the way we are. Just took a shot at 30 yards. The deer standing. It's still standing in there. It limped off. So I'm going to give it some time here and see what we end up getting. I hit it. It came up there and then was heading in the woods, so I went ahead and fired off a shot. It's hit. We have another deer down. That is a spike. I did not see that was a spike, which is fine because I do have a buck tag for firearm. And now, next week for muzzleloader, I will only be able to harvest an antlerless only, so I have to be very particular to make sure that I'm shooting a doe. I did not see the spikes on this deer, which he came up that logging road. I'll kind of give you no blood at all, which when I shot the spike last year with the bow, there was no blood. So up there is the logging road. That, if you can see that marker there, that is my trail to go into the stand over there, and 20 yards in front of you is the trail camera that we replaced yesterday, and it went off after I shot. That buck, it came through here and piled up. I put a big hole in the side of it. No blood at all. It was already dead whenever I got here, so I didn't have to shoot it again. Whew. All right. And then I still have an antlerless only weekend coming up if I choose to exercise that and I don't get something next week. All right. I'd say that's about a 70-pound field dress deer. It's 9 degrees with a wind chill of -6, and that's what I came up here for. So, cameras were shutting down. Tried to get it on film, but the camera shut down because it was so cold. So this, in 2 weeks, well, Monday I shot a doe out of that stand, which would have been, or that blind, which would have been over here, and then shot a buck out of this stand on a Saturday morning. Last year, the stand in the center of the property was the one that produced all 3 deer. Whew, all right. Let me get this gutted, get my tools here, and then drag it back to camp, hang it up, see what it weighs. Down there, 35 yards away, and then Monday, about 35 yards in there, was that doe that I shot. I don't ever remember seeing this deer on camera. I'm sure it's the deer that's on camera now. After I shot, like I said, the TAC cam sent me a notification, but I can't open it because I have almost no service where I'm sitting at in the woods. Whew, alright, I've got it hung up. This weighed 72 pounds. I already took the scale off. That doe I got the other day, I think probably was about the same. I noticed the way the scale was hanging. I had to adjust the way it was hanging, and it went from 90 to 72. So I'm going to say the doe was 90 pounds because that's what the scale had, and I'm not going to guess otherwise. But, whew. Let that hang for a minute, and then start butchering it out. Very, very happy with that. 2 spikes in 2 years. One with a bow, one with a gun. Got a doe earlier this week, and last year I got a 7-point and a fawn. So, 1 tag left. Let me get this butchered out. Well, I got it all taken care of, and then put the carcass in the woods about 150 yards that way. The one from Monday's still there, and the gut pile from Monday, with that doe, it's still where I shot it. So I'll take that home, get that processed through a little shelf up here temporarily. It's a poor design right now, but I just needed somewhere to put sharpener and the knife. So that's going to do it for very happy. I'm really disappointed that I didn't have the kill shot on camera. 9 degrees, wind chill -6, cameras not functioning at that temperature, and having to plug things in to get them charging and all this. So that was a disappointment, but in one realm. But the excitement was we got another deer down. So I am going to try to organize this, pack stuff up, and get out of here. It's just frigid cold. That's a greenhouse thermometer, and it doesn't go below 32 apparently. So I'm just going to turn that off. And I don't know if you can see that, but we're looking at 15 degrees in the tent, which is what it is outside. Beautiful day if it wasn't so cold. So the reason why I was able to stay out in that blind this morning when it was 9 degrees and a wind chill of -6 was I bundled up in layers. For my boots, I've got 800 mil insulated boots. I have an inner liner sock, I have a normal sock, and then I had put these hot hands that are for your shoes on underneath the second pair of socks, and then I wear 2 additional heavy duty socks, or thicker socks, not sure of the material, and my feet have stayed warm the entire morning. And then I've got a t-shirt. I've changed now, but I had a t-shirt, 2 long sleeve shirts. I had this outer garment. I had a kind of like a fleece, and then I had my big heavy-duty hunting jacket, a whitewater thermal jacket that goes with these bibs. Now, the only part of me that was getting cold was right around my midsection. I don't know why. My lower back was cold. Legs were okay, but right around here was cold, getting cold. And then my gloves, I have these mittens, and they are 100% polyester. That's the insulation. The lining is 100% polyester, and the shell is 83% wool and 15% nylon and something else. So I have these, and I have just these thin gloves, and then inside of the thin gloves I have hot hands, and with that combination, and then I have the hood. I have my hood pullover, you saw that, and I was tucked out of the wind, so that helped as well. I think I still would have been fine if I was in a tree stand, but just overdress, 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 and heat, heat, heat. Don't have a Mr. Buddy heater to put in the blind or take in a tree stand, so I utilize what I have. And over the last 4 weeks, as the temperatures have progressively got colder, I have continued to modify each time I go out. Okay, I'm going to wear this many socks, this, and then with the socks, I wrap my feet with grocery bags. I have all the socks on, like I talked about, the heater pad inside of them, and then I wrap everything and slide it in the boots. The reason being is I found that my feet sweat inside the boots, and then when I come in to switch socks, my boots are still very moist, and then I'm dealing with a wet boot with dry socks that it now is absorbing the heat, or absorbing the moisture. So by doing it, encapsulating it in that garbage, or the grocery bag, I can pull everything out, switch socks, put a new grocery bag in, the boots are dry, I don't have to try to dry them out. So that is how I was able to stay in the stand or in the blind long enough in order to get a shot at that spiked buck or any deer that would have come along. I was going to stay until a minimum of 10:30 because I was comfortable, and that's the key. If you're shaking and you, oh, I can make it, it's not going to, it's just going to end in disaster. It's not going to be good. Well, my friends, Deer Camp 2024 was a success. We'll take this sign down because Deer Camp is over for me.